even if you, and this is not your case because you have too many other things that you're winning on, but let's say for everyone at home right now, even if the one thing that you're known for, the only thing that's seemingly on paper is a win for you in your career, you're not multi-dimensional, like you're just the ice cream man. You have 4 ice cream shops, that's what you're known for, like that's it. And you're at a point where it's not going well. Like maybe somebody's come in and innovated and is beating you up and you're underwater and now you're taking your savings to keep up the business. These are real talks.
Yeah.
Even for that person, if something's not right, it's only causing an emotional cancer inside of you. The anxiety, the sleepless nights, the passive aggressive ways you're acting with the people around you because you're not happy.
Right.
It's just a weight. And the reality is even with all the judgment, you've got to get into a place and saying, look, here's the thing that works for me when I do it. Hey, I'm gonna have to take this L. It's really not fun. I don't want to. There's going to be a news cycle, and everybody has a news cycle. Some people only have 4 relatives that are part of the news cycle. Other people have 100 million followers. From Beyonce to Ricky Thompson, who has, his mom is the news cycle. That's the only person he even knows. He's an introvert and a hermit, and the only person he even knows who he is and what he's doing is his mom. Everyone has a news cycle where people are gonna have judgment. People are gonna have to say what they say. But actually, I'm gonna give you an interesting answer to this, Hannah, as I've been setting up the answer.
Okay.
The answer to the question is humility. The reason I can deal with it in stride is because I always, after I think it all the way through, go to this final place. Who gives a shit what the fuck I'm doing? Yeah, you see where this goes? It's really neat. I go through all the things that I was talking about, but where do I end up to why I get to a good place? It's humility. At the end of the day, for all the good things that are going for me in entrepreneur land, when, not if, when I have entrepreneurial failures in the future, what will allow me to do it and make me take it in stride is realizing that I don't mean that much in the world at the end of the day. That cool, there'll be 24 hours on Twitter where people are like, see Gary, you're not as good as you thought you were. Maybe there's a couple people that were disappointed internally of like, man, how did he not pull off? Like he should have been good at selling footballs.
Right.
Like he likes football, like why did that not work? And what really always gets me there is like humility. I think humility is an incredibly important part of the ingredients that an alpha, an ambitious striver needs to have. I ultimately think like, yeah, there'll be some judgment, but like they'll move on to the next thing the next day.
Totally.
Totally. Like in a year, are people really gonna be talking about? It's not really. They're gonna move on to, and by the way, I also have a lot of compassion for people that are in the business of gossip and tearing people down.
She knows who she is, and she's 47 years old, and she doesn't want to keep growing. But that she wants to keep evolving, and that those are 2 different things.
Do you know what I hear when I hear that?
Tell me.
That's
why I wanted to.
And I'm 47, so that makes me excited. I'm so in love with this person without knowing them. You know what she's saying? I don't want to judge myself. The nuance of evolving versus growth is when you are in this game of growth, if you watch the people that are most obsessed with it, they're over judging themselves. They're subtly beating themselves up like, I need to be better. I gotta be better.
Right.
I'm not good at this. I think what she's saying, quick hot take on hearing that, because it really hit me in my chest, because I'm very similar, is I don't want to beat myself up. I think the reason, by the way, back to the last thing, that so many people are judging everyone else is because it starts at home.
Right.
They're judging themselves.
Right.
And the way they're dealing with that pain, because they keep beating themselves up, is they deploy it to others.
Right.
So, you know, when I hear that, that makes sense to me. I think we've got to find a way to be less judgmental on ourselves. But to her point, you always want to evolve.
Right.
But I understand, I think I understand where she's going.
Yeah, it was interesting because when she first started talking about like kind of getting over this idea of constant growth, I was kind of like saying to myself, well, but there's so many things that I want to accomplish and do. And then she moved into this, it's not about, like, you can still evolve within yourself, but the constant idea that you're not satisfied with yourself is And I found it just like really beautiful. I thought you were gonna like that, so that's why I wanted to bring
Well, it's funny, you just made me think of something that really hit my team the other day. We're on this journey at this marketing firm, and it's like really like gonna be a thing. Like, we genuinely like are starting to, and when it's all said and done, have changed the way people think about marketing in the world, which is really cool. But there's so much pushback, like people still believe a television commercial is more important than a single TikTok. And I really don't think that. That the ocean spray TikTok will sell more ocean spray, which it did, than any commercial, which is true. So we're having this very philosophical meeting where the team is talking about the frustrations of getting the world on board. And I said something that's just very real to me that touches on what you just said. I looked at them all and I said, we've already won. And it's funny when you just said what you said about what she was saying. I feel like that is another big quote unquote secret to why things have worked for me. Similar to what I said earlier about not being attached to the validation of the success. When I tell you the most emotional professional day of my career to this day is still the first full day of work at my dad's store. May 20 something, 1998.
Coming up on an anniversary.
Yeah, 1998 is still the most significant day of my life because somewhere around 4th grade, I dreamed for the day where I could work full time. And I remember like yesterday driving right over there, over those hills, from Hunterdon County, New Jersey to my dad's store for 40 minutes. And I remember literally saying to myself, there'll never be a better day than this, because this is the starting point of what I've always wanted to do. And basically I was saying to myself, I'd won already. Regardless of what's about to happen over these next 50 years, just playing means I've won. And so like, when, you know, especially since Kobe's death, which I think really was just such a cultural, and especially because I'm very tied into being competitive, and I just like a lot of the way he moved. He's one of the people that just very clear for him, it was like he'd won the day his career started. Like the game itself, and that's how entrepreneurship is for me. The game itself is the win, nothing else. And I was telling the team, we'd already won. We're like, and it was funny to see how well that landed with everyone. It like gave them some sort of weird peace of mind. And I think that's what I want for every individual. Like when you go and do the thing you want to do, regardless of the money or the notoriety, if you are passionate about planting and you've started a micro planting, farming, flower, vegetable business, if it, like the amount of people that have a business like that does $180,000 a year in sales and they take home $67,000 and they live on that $67,000 and are happy as shit, it's those people. And sometimes they look like Kobe and it's financially and culturally satisfying. It just happened to be that for him. But back to like all the hidden people that we don't talk about. A dentist, that's all he ever wanted. Like he's pumped. I want that. That's why the first book I ever wrote was based on that. But people keep thinking it's foofy, silly stuff. And I keep saying that the internet has made it very real. But instilling the right things is everything. And so like, for example, and you know this, because you're very educated in this, there's a lot of variance to beauty versus health and wellness. So like, there's the concept of like lip filler is very different than eating clean. So I think that's going to be a big topic of conversation over the next 20 years as we get more advanced in what you just talked about. There are certain things that are artificial enhancements to live up to the current state of beauty. Right? Look at your life. I look at you and I can see visually, she grew up in an era where girls that look like her were the standard, and now as she's older, her look is more the standard, and standards change. Right? What is considered beautiful changes. So there are differences of like, are you in a life cycle where the way you look is considered the standard of the day, or is it not? And then do you do something about it to keep up with the Joneses? Or are you doing things that are gonna keep you healthy? You know, like, and those are very interesting nuances that I don't think are being broken down just yet in health, wellness, and beauty.
I would agree.
Including, I'll give you another one, cosmetics that are clean versus not.
Right.
Those are like new conversations we're having, but to your point, are we as parents teaching our children your validation to the world, your self-esteem should be wrapped up in how you look or on who you are? And I think they come in all shapes and sizes, and I think it's dangerous to be black and white.
Right.
Because, look, I think beauty is like an important part of the world. We like marvel at like sunsets, and we like when it's nice outside. Like, we shouldn't demonize some things. I don't think it's a trivial thing. I don't think it's not important, but I think balance and all this. I think a lot about the color purple these days. So as America has really locked into a war amongst red and blue politically, I know the way we get out of this is by everyone falling in love with purple. And I think everyone's digging in too deep. People are even changing their minds on things just to fit a red or a blue. And so I think this issue fits similarly, which is like, we shouldn't demonize people that want to look good. I think it matters quite a bit. But we can't make it the thing they're completely known for. And to the point of this convo, when are we gonna start holding people up on a pedestal that are the nicest? Not the richest or the prettiest.
Correct.
And I think we have the potential to do that.
Totally. I really hope so. I think as a society we do have the potential to do that too.
Well, I think it happens in pockets, right? You and I have a lot of different, like, you probably have 3, 4, 5, 2, 6 meaningful friend groups. In my world, I would argue that most of my friend groups that really are my actual friends are actually quietly built on that. Because, you just want to be with people that are nice.
Of course.
Or common interests.